The information provided in this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Dealing with automotive insurance, structural vehicle repairs, and legal contracts involves significant financial and safety implications. We are not licensed insurance adjusters, legal professionals, or certified automotive engineers. This content does not constitute professional advice, and results may vary based on your specific policy, state laws, and the extent of vehicle damage. You must conduct your own due diligence and consult with qualified professionals before making decisions regarding your vehicle or insurance claims. Imagine waking up to the sound of what sounds like 1,000 hammers striking your roof. You look out the window, and in less than 5 minutes, your second most valuable asset has been transformed into a golf ball. Most people see hail damage and think it is just a cosmetic nuisance. But what if I told you that the decisions you make in the next 48 hours could cost you upwards of $10,000 in lost resale value, or even result in your car being unknowingly totaled by your insurance provider? There is a silent epidemic in the automotive world where owners are losing their shirts because they follow common sense advice that actually destroys their equity. We have seen cases where a simple $500 mistake in how a claim was filed led to a permanent total loss brand on a vehicle title that was perfectly drivable. If you think your insurance company is your friend, or that a local pop-up Dent shop has your best interests at heart, you are already falling into the trap. Today, we are opening the books on the high-stakes world of automotive catastrophe recovery to ensure you don't become another statistic in the multi-billion-dollar hail damage industry. This is not your typical how-to guide. This is a deep-dive masterclass designed to navigate the complex intersection of insurance law, specialized metallurgy, and predatory marketing. For the average American driver, a severe hailstorm is a once-in-a-decade event, but for the industry, it is a feeding frenzy. By the time we finish this 10-part series, you will understand the exact mechanics of paintless dent repair, the hidden clauses in your comprehensive coverage that adjusters rarely volunteer, and the step-by-step framework to maximize your settlement while maintaining the structural integrity of your vehicle. Whether you live in the heart of Hail Alley, in Texas, or just got caught in a freak storm in the Northeast, the principles we are covering today are the difference between a seamless restoration and a financial nightmare that follows your VIN for the rest of its life. Let's start with the fundamental misunderstanding of what hail damage actually is. To the naked eye, it's a series of dents. To an engineer, it's a localized stretching of the metal's molecular structure. When hail hits your car at terminal velocity, it doesn't just indent the metal, it displaces it. The mistake most people make right out of the gate is underestimating the sheer volume of damage. When you look at your car in the sunlight, you might see 20 or 30 dents. However, when a professional technician puts that same car under a specialized LED light board, they often find 200. This discrepancy is where the first major financial leak happens. If you call your insurance company and report minor damage, you are setting a low-value anchor for your claim before a professional has even touched the car. Historical trends show that insurance adjusters are under immense pressure during catastrophe events or CAT situations. When a massive storm hits a metropolitan area like Dallas or Denver, an adjuster might be tasked with inspecting 20 to 30 cars a day. In that environment, their goal is speed, not necessarily precision. If you do not know how to inspect your own vehicle before they arrive, you are essentially leaving your checkbook in the hands of someone who is incentivized to move to the next driveway as quickly as possible. We will examine case studies where initial field estimates came in at $3,000, only to be supplemented to $9,000 once a specialized shop performed a proper teardown. If the owner had accepted that first check and cashed it without understanding their rights, they would have been responsible for that $6,000 gap or left with a car that was only 1/3 repaired. Another critical error is the wait-and-see approach. Many vehicle owners believe that because hail damage is cosmetic, they can wait until the end of the storm season to file a claim. This logic is financially dangerous for 3 reasons. First, insurance policies often have a notice of loss provision. While you generally have a year to file a claim, waiting months makes it incredibly difficult to prove which specific storm caused the damage. If a second storm hits your car before the first one is repaired, you now have 2 separate occurrences. In the eyes of your insurance company, that means 2 separate deductibles. If your deductible is $1,000, your procrastination just cost you an extra $1,000 out of pocket. Second, there is the issue of pre-existing damage during a subsequent accident. If your car is peppered with hail and you get into a fender bender 3 months later, the insurance company may subtract the cost of the unrepaired hail damage from your accident settlement. In some extreme historical cases, this has resulted in vehicles being totaled out after minor accidents because the combined cost of the new collision damage and the old, unrepaired hail damage exceeded the car's value. Third, and perhaps most importantly for those who live in high-risk areas, is the total loss threshold. The value of used cars fluctuates. If you wait 6 months to file your claim and the used car market dips, your car's actual cash value decreases. If the cost of the hail repair stays the same, you are much more likely to hit that 70% or 80% threshold where the insurance company decides to scrap the car rather than fix it. By acting immediately, you are capturing the highest possible valuation for your vehicle, giving you more headroom for the repair costs. We also have to discuss the deductible waiving myth. You will see signs all over town after a storm saying, "We pay your deductible." While this sounds like a win for the consumer, it is vital to understand the economics of how this works. A reputable shop has fixed overhead, specialized tools, and highly trained technicians. If they are eating a $500 or $1,000 deductible, that money has to come from somewhere. Often, it comes from cutting corners on the repair itself. This might mean pushing to paint instead of true paintless dent repair, which ruins your factory finish and lowers the car's value. Or it could mean using inferior replacement parts for trim pieces, moldings, and glass. In the worst-case scenarios, shops may engage in claim padding, where they tell the insurance company they performed work that was never actually done to cover the cost of your deductible. This puts you, the policyholder, in a precarious legal position, as you are the one signing off on the final completion of work. The goal of this masterclass is to move you from a passive participant in the claims process to an informed advocate. You need to understand that your insurance policy is a legal contract, and like any contract, the specifics matter. We are going to break down the right to appraisal clause, which is a powerful but rarely used tool that allows you to challenge an insurance company's lowball estimate. We will look at the difference between direct repair programs or DRPs, the shops your insurance company wants you to use, and independent certified shops that work for you, not the carrier. The stakes are higher than most realize. In the United States, hail causes an estimated $10 to $15 billion in property damage annually, with a massive portion of that being automotive. Yet, a significant percentage of that money never actually goes toward quality repairs because owners fall for the quick fix or the parking lot solicitor. By the end of this series, you will have the knowledge to protect your vehicle's title, ensure your factory paint remains intact, and navigate the insurance bureaucracy with the confidence of a professional. We are just getting started, and in the next section, we are going to dive into the physical science of the damage itself so you can spot a botched repair from 10 feet away. To understand why so many car owners fail at the repair stage, you first have to understand the physics of the impact and the biological limits of the human eye. When a hailstone the size of a golf ball drops from 30,000 feet, it is hitting your car at roughly 60 miles per hour. This is not just a dent. It is a high-velocity kinetic transfer that stretches the steel or aluminum of your hood beyond its elastic limit. If you imagine the metal of your car like a trampoline, the hail is the jumper. Usually, the trampoline bounces back. But hail creates a permanent stretch in the molecular grain of the metal. If a repair technician does not understand how to shrink that metal back into its original tension, the repair is fundamentally flawed from the first second. The most common mistake people make at this stage is the DIY trap. It is 2026 and social media is flooded with videos of people using dry ice, hair dryers, or suction cups to pop out hail dents. Imagine a vehicle owner named Mark in Oklahoma City. Mark sees 36 dents on his brand new 2026 electric pickup truck. He thinks he can save his $500 deductible by using a suction cup kit he bought online for $40. Mark spends his Saturday afternoon pulling at the metal. He hears a satisfying pop and thinks he has fixed it. But when the sun hits the truck at a 45-degree angle the next morning, the hood looks like an ocean wave. By pulling the metal without controlling the boundaries of the dent, Mark has overstretched the panel. This is called overpulling, and in the industry we call the result a high spot or a crown. Because Mark stretched the metal too far, a professional shop now has to spend twice as much time shrinking that metal back down, or worse, the panel may now be unrepairable, requiring a full replacement and a paint job that will never perfectly match the factory finish. Historical trends in automotive manufacturing have made this even more complicated. In 2026, many vehicles have transitioned to high-strength aluminum alloys and ultra-high-strength steels to save weight and increase battery range. Aluminum does not have a metal memory like traditional steel. When it gets dented, it stays dented, and it requires significantly more heat and specialized tooling to manipulate. If you use a standard steel PDR, paintless dent repair, technique on a 2026 aluminum hood, you risk cracking the paint or fracturing the alloy itself. This is why the mistake of choosing a general body shop over a specialized PDR facility can be catastrophic. A traditional body shop might look at an aluminum hood and immediately tell you it needs to be replaced, sanded, and repainted. This destroys the factory E-coat, which is the most corrosion-resistant layer your car will ever have. A master PDR technician, however, can often massage those dents out from the inside, preserving that precious factory finish and maintaining the vehicle's original value. Let's look at a case study involving a 2025 luxury SUV in North Texas. The owner, Sarah, took her vehicle to a high-volume collision center recommended by her insurance company. The shop promised a quick turnaround. What Sarah didn't know was that the shop was using a technique called drilling for access. To get their tools behind the metal panels of the roof and doors, the technicians drilled small holes in the door jambs and the inner frame of the SUV. They then plugged these holes with plastic caps and sent Sarah on her way. 2 years later, when Sarah went to trade in her vehicle, the appraiser at the dealership pulled back the weather stripping, saw the plastic plugs, and immediately slashed $5,000 off the trade-in value. Why? Because drilling for access is a structural modification that can lead to internal rust and compromise side impact safety. Sarah thought she had a perfect repair, but because she didn't supervise the method of access, she lost thousands in equity. This brings us to the importance of the lighting environment. If you are inspecting your car in your driveway or under the fluorescent lights of a standard garage, you are missing 70% of the damage. Professional PDR technicians use high-intensity, specialized LED light boards that project a series of parallel lines onto the car's surface. When those lines hit a dent, they bend. This allows the tech to see the exact center, the depth, and the shoulders of every single impact point. A major mistake owners make is accepting a visual inspection from an insurance adjuster who is standing in the shade of a tree, using nothing but a clipboard. You must insist that the car be cleaned, dirt hides dents, and inspected under proper lighting. If the adjuster says they see 40 dents and your PDR tech says there are 120, do not assume the tech is lying to get more money. Assume the adjuster is missing the microscopic distortions that will show up the moment you drive that car into a bright parking lot or a gas station at night. Furthermore, we need to talk about the microcracking phenomenon. Many people think that if the paint isn't chipped, it's fine. However, high-velocity hail impacts can cause microfractures in the clear coat that are invisible to the naked eye. If a repair is performed too aggressively or without the proper temperature control, those microfractures can expand. 6 months later, you might notice your paint starting to peel or delaminate in circles exactly where the hail hit. Case studies from the 2024 storm season in Colorado showed that vehicles repaired in cold environments without infrared heat lamps had a 20% higher rate of paint failure within the first year. This is why the environment of the shop matters just as much as the skill of the technician. You also have to consider the parts trap. When hail hits, it doesn't just hit the metal. It hits the R&I components, removal and installation parts. This includes belt moldings, roof rails, shark fin antennas, and windshield cowls. A common mistake is allowing a shop to use aftermarket, or like kind and quality, LKQ, parts for these items. While a plastic molding might look the same, the UV resistance and the fitment clips are often inferior to original equipment manufacturer, OEM, parts. If your car is a 2026 model, you want 2026 OEM clips and seals. Using cheap aftermarket seals can lead to wind noise or, even worse, water leaks that fry your vehicle's electronic control modules. Imagine a scenario where a $5 aftermarket window seal allows a slow leak into your door panel, eventually shorting out the window motor and the side impact sensor. The insurance company saved $10 on the part, but you ended up with a car that is a ghost in the machine. Understanding the metallurgy and the technical requirements of the repair is your first line of defense against being taken advantage of. But even if you find the best technician in the world, there is another hurdle that trips up even the most sophisticated car owners: the hidden language of the insurance estimate itself. If you don't know how to read the line items on that multi-page PDF the adjuster sends you, you are essentially flying blind. Most people just look at the bottom number, but the real story and the potential for financial loss is hidden in the codes and the labor rates in the middle. What if I told you that there is a specific line item that insurance companies frequently forget to include, which can account for 15% of the total repair cost? or that the way they calculate paintless dent repair labor is fundamentally different from how they calculate body labor, and that this distinction could be used to devalue your claim? In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to dissect an actual insurance estimate line by line. We will show you the hidden math adjusters used to minimize payouts and the 3 specific phrases you need to use to trigger a supplement request that the insurance company cannot legally ignore. If you want to make sure you aren't leaving thousands of dollars on the table, you cannot afford to miss how the paperwork game is played. When you receive that email notification containing your initial insurance estimate, your instinct is to scroll immediately to the final page to find the total dollar amount. This is the first major psychological trap in the claims process. In 2026, insurance carriers have perfected the art of the low anchor estimate. By presenting you with a number first, often generated by an artificial intelligence algorithm scanning photos you took on your smartphone, they are setting a baseline for your expectations. If that number is $3,000, and a local shop later tells you the repair is actually $9,000, you are conditioned to believe the shop is overcharging you. In reality, the insurance company's initial estimate is almost always a skeleton document, missing 50 to 60% of the actual required labor and parts. To understand why this happens, we have to look at the PDR matrix. This is a standardized pricing chart used across the industry in the United States. It operates on 2 axes: the size of the dent and the number of dents per body panel. The sizes are typically categorized by coins, dime, nickel, quarter, and half dollar. The quantity brackets usually jump from 1 to 5, 6 to 15, 16 to 30, and so on. Imagine a character named Marcus in suburban Atlanta. After a 2026 spring storm, Marcus uses his insurance company's mobile app to submit photos of his SUV. The AI software identifies 20 dents on the hood and classifies them as nickel-sized. The estimate generates a payout of $600 for that panel. However, when Marcus takes the vehicle to a specialized technician who uses a high-intensity fog lamp, they discover 45 dents, several of which are half-dollar sized and located on a body line where the metal is double-walled. According to the PDR matrix, that panel should actually cost $1,800 to repair. By accepting the initial AI-generated check, Marcus is essentially agreeing to a 66% discount on his own car's restoration. The next critical oversight in modern estimates involves the Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS. By 2026, even entry-level vehicles are equipped with a suite of sensors, cameras, and radar units used for emergency braking, lane-keeping assistance, and adaptive cruise control. Many of these sensors are housed behind the windshield or near the roofline, areas frequently targeted by hail. Historical trends in automotive repair show that a high-velocity impact near a camera housing can slightly shift its alignment. Even a shift of 1 millimeter at the source can result in a tracking error of several feet at a distance of 100 yards. Most initial insurance estimates omit the line items for a pre-repair diagnostic scan and a post-repair calibration. These are not optional convenience items. They are safety requirements. A full ADAS calibration in 2026 can cost anywhere from $800 to $1,500. If your estimate does not explicitly list these codes, you are driving a vehicle that may no longer be able to accurately predict a collision. Let's talk about the R&I process, which stands for removal and installation. To properly repair hail damage on a roof, the technician must gain access to the underside of the metal. This requires dropping the headliner, the fabric sealing inside your car. On a modern 2026 electric SUV, the headliner is not just a piece of fabric. It is an integrated component housing side curtain airbags, panoramic sunroof motors, interior lighting arrays, and often, rear seat entertainment screens. A common mistake is allowing an insurance adjuster to write for a standard headliner R&I, which might only allocate 2 hours of labor. In reality, the manufacturer's technical manual may require 6 hours of labor and the replacement of one-time use plastic clips to ensure the airbags deploy correctly in a future accident. If the shop is underpaid for this labor, they may be tempted to hang the headliner, propping it up with foam blocks instead of removing it. This often results in permanent creases in the fabric or, far worse, a pinched wire that causes a slow electrical drain on your battery. Then there is the trap of the Direct Repair Program, or DRP. Your insurance agent may tell you that they have a list of certified shops that provide a guaranteed repair. In the industry, these are known as DRP shops. While many are high-quality facilities, you must understand the nature of their contract. A DRP shop has a pre-negotiated agreement with the insurance company to provide lower labor rates, use aftermarket parts, and often, to skip certain expensive procedures like the aforementioned ADAS calibrations. The insurance company is the shop's primary source of volume, which means the shop has a financial incentive to keep the insurance company's costs low. If you choose an independent, manufacturer-certified shop, their primary loyalty is to the vehicle owner and the manufacturer's repair standards. Case studies from 2025 indicated that independent shops generally secured 40% higher supplement payments than DRP shops for the exact same make and model of vehicle. This is because the independent shop is willing to fight for every single line item required to return the car to its pre-loss condition. The concept of a supplement is perhaps the most misunderstood part of the entire process. A supplement is not a change order or a sign that the repair is going wrong. It is a secondary request for funds sent by the shop to the insurance company once the car is in the stall, the lights are on, and the interior is disassembled. You should expect your shop to file a supplement. In fact, if a shop tells you they can do the entire repair for exactly what the insurance company initially wrote, you should be concerned. It likely means they are skipping the small but vital steps, such as applying corrosion protection to the backside of the panels where the PDR tools have massaged the metal. When a tool pushes against the interior of a panel, it can microscopically disturb the factory rust-proofing. A professional repair includes a line item for cavity wax or corrosion protection to reseal those areas. It is a $20 part in 30 minutes of labor, but skipping it can lead to internal rust spots 5 years down the road. Imagine a scenario where a vehicle owner named Elena in Nebraska receives a $5,000 check for hail damage on her 2026 luxury sedan. She cashes the check and takes the car to a shop that agrees to the price. 6 months later, she notices a whistling sound at high speeds. It turns out the shop didn't replace the one-time use windshield moldings because the insurance estimate didn't include them, and the shop didn't want to file a supplement. Now, Elena has to pay out of pocket to have the windshield moldings replaced, which involves removing and potentially breaking the glass. This is the hidden cost of a no-hassle repair. As we move forward in this masterclass, we have to address the most terrifying word in the hail damage vocabulary: total loss. Many owners of older or high-mileage vehicles think that because the damage is just dents, their car is safe. But in an era of skyrocketing labor rates and expensive sensor technology, it is easier than ever to total a car with hail. Do you know the exact percentage of your car's value that triggers a total loss in your state? Do you know how to challenge the insurance company's valuation of your car if they try to take it away from you for a price that won't even cover your remaining loan balance? In the next part, we are going to dive into the math of the total loss threshold and show you the specific documentation you need to gather today to prove your car is worth more than the insurance company claims. If you have a loan on your vehicle or you're driving a car you love, you need to know how to stop an adjuster from totaling your car out from under you. The moment an insurance company labels your vehicle a total loss, the power dynamic of your claim shifts instantly. Most people assume that if their car still runs and the damage is merely cosmetic, they are safe from the total loss threshold. This is a dangerous misconception in the 2026 automotive market. To an insurance carrier, your car is not a mode of transportation or a sentimental object. It is a line item on a balance sheet. The total loss calculation is a cold mathematical formula. If the estimated cost of repairs plus the projected salvage value of the car exceeds a certain percentage of the vehicle's actual cash value, the company will choose to pay you the value of the car and take the title. In many states, this threshold is as low as 75%, but in others, the company can use a total loss formula that makes it even easier to scrap a perfectly functional vehicle. Imagine a driver named David in Colorado Springs. David owns a 2021 midsize sedan that is in excellent condition with low mileage. A severe 2026 hailstorm hits, and every horizontal panel on his car is dented. The insurance adjuster estimates the repair cost at $8,000. David thinks that is fine because he knows his car is worth about $20,000. However, the adjuster also calculates that the salvage yard will pay $7,000 for the car's parts and scrap metal. When you add the $8,000 repair estimate to the $7,000 salvage value, you get $15,000. Since $15,000 is 75% of the car's $20,000 value, the insurance company decides to total it. David is shocked. He is handed a check for $20,000 minus his deductible, but he still owes $18,000 on his loan. After paying off the bank, he is left with almost nothing to buy a replacement vehicle in a high-inflation 2026 market. The mistake David made was accepting the insurance company's initial valuation of his vehicle. Historical trends show that insurance companies often use local market software that pulls the lowest possible comparable sales to determine your car's actual cash value. They might compare your well-maintained, garage-kept car to 3 high-mileage rentals that sold at auction 2 months ago. If you do not provide your own evidence, you are effectively letting the person who has to pay you decide how much they owe you. Step 1 in avoiding an unnecessary total loss is building a valuation portfolio. This means gathering receipts for recent major maintenance, such as new tires, brake replacements, or timing belt services performed within the last 12 months. It also means finding your own local comparable listings. You need to find at least 3 vehicles of the same year, make, model, and trim level for sale within a 50-mile radius of your zip code. If the average price of those cars is $22,000, but the insurance company is claiming your car is only worth $18,000, that $4,000 difference is the margin that could save your car from being totaled. Another critical error is failing to understand the owner retention option. If the insurance company insists on totaling your car, you often have the legal right to buy it back from them for the salvage value. In David's case, he could have kept the car and received a check for the value minus the salvage amount. However, this comes with a massive caveat that many people overlook: the salvage title brand. Once a vehicle is totaled in 2026, the VIN is permanently flagged in the National Motor Vehicle Title Information System. This drastically reduces the resale value and can make the vehicle difficult or impossible to insure for comprehensive and collision coverage in the future. Case studies have shown that a car with a salvage title, even one that has been perfectly repaired using PDR, can lose 40 to 50% of its market value. If you plan on driving the car into the ground for the next 10 years, owner retention might make sense. If you were planning to trade it in next year, you have just walked into a financial trap. This is where the negotiation of the repair estimate becomes your strongest tool. If your car is hovering near the total loss threshold, you and your PDR technician can work together to prioritize repairs. For example, perhaps the roof and hood are repaired to perfection, but you choose to leave a few minor dents on the lower rocker panels that are barely visible. This is known as a partial repair settlement, and it can sometimes keep the total cost just below the threshold required to trigger a total loss. However, you must be careful. If you have a lien on the vehicle, your finance company usually requires the car to be fully restored to its pre-loss condition. They own the car, not you, and they will not allow you to pocket insurance money while leaving the collateral damaged. Furthermore, we must address the 2026 reality of part availability and rental car costs. A major factor driving cars toward the total loss category today is the secondary cost of the claim. If your car requires a new hood or a specialized trim piece that is on a 3-month backorder, the insurance company has to pay for your rental car for those 90 days. At $50 a day, that is an extra $4,500 added to the cost of the claim. In many documented case studies from 2025, vehicles were totaled not because the dents were too expensive to fix, but because the estimated rental car bill pushed the total claim cost over the limit. One way to mitigate this is to work with the shop that can perform the PDR work immediately while the backordered parts are tracked. If the car is safe to drive, you can drive it while waiting for parts, thereby stopping the rental car clock and potentially saving the vehicle from a total loss designation. There is also the hidden danger of the supplement causing a mid-repair total loss. This is a nightmare scenario. Imagine your car is in the shop, and the technician has already started pulling dents. They find more damage than the adjuster saw and submit a $3,000 supplement. This new total now exceeds the total loss threshold. The insurance company can stop the repair, pay the shop for the work already done, and then haul your half-repaired car away to a salvage yard. To prevent this, a professional shop should always perform a complete teardown and a meticulous blueprint of the damage before a single dent is touched. They need to ensure the insurance company approves the full, supplemented amount before the point of no return. As we navigate these complex financial waters, it becomes clear that the person you choose to represent your interests, your repair professional, is the most important decision you will make. But how do you tell the difference between a master craftsman and a storm chaser who just rented a temporary warehouse for the month? The hail industry is notorious for pop-up shops that vanish the moment the clouds clear, leaving you with no warranty and potentially a car that has been structurally compromised. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to pull back the curtain on the storm chaser business model. We will show you the 5 red flags to look for when a salesperson knocks on your door, and the specific questions you must ask to ensure the shop you choose will actually be there in 2027 if your roof starts to leak. You might think a local address means a local business, but in the hail world, appearances are often designed to deceive. Do you know who is actually holding the tools behind the closed doors of that shop? You're about to find out. In the high-stakes aftermath of a major hailstorm in 2026, a new economy emerges almost overnight. Within 48 hours of the clouds clearing, a literal army of contractors, sales teams, and technicians descends upon the affected zip codes. This is the world of the storm chaser. While not every out-of-state technician is a predatory actor, many are highly skilled professionals who travel to meet the surge in demand. The business model itself is fraught with risks for the unsuspecting vehicle owner. The primary mistake people make is conflating a professional-looking storefront with a stable local business. In the hail industry, a common historical trend involves companies renting out empty warehouses or abandoned car washes on short-term 3-month leases. They wrap the building in high-end vinyl banners, set up a sophisticated front desk, and start running localized social media ads. To a resident like Maria in Lincoln, Nebraska, it looks like a legitimate new business has opened to help the community. In reality, that company may have been in Florida last month and will be in Texas by the time the first snow falls. Imagine Maria hands over the keys to her 2026 luxury crossover. The shop promises to handle everything with the insurance company and even offers a free rental car. 3 weeks later, Maria picks up her vehicle. Under the dim lights of the shop's lobby, it looks perfect. But 2 months later, as Maria is driving on the highway, she hears a persistent rattling in her headliner. A week after that, her backup camera stops functioning. When she drives back to the shop location to address these issues under her lifetime warranty, she finds the building empty and a for lease sign in the window. The phone number is disconnected, and the website has been taken down. Because the shop was a temporary LLC set up specifically for that storm, Maria has no legal recourse and no way to enforce her warranty. She is now responsible for paying a local mechanic $1,800 to fix the interior trim and electrical issues caused by the original poor workmanship. This scenario highlights the first major red flag of the storm chaser: the door-to-door solicitor. In the United States, reputable automotive repair facilities rarely, if ever, send sales representatives to knock on your door or leave flyers on your windshield in your driveway. If a salesperson is pressuring you to sign a direction to pay or a repair authorization on your front porch before they have even seen a formal insurance estimate, you are entering a high-risk situation. These contracts often contain liquidated damages clauses. This means if you sign the paper but later decide to use a different shop, the storm chaser can legally charge you 15 to 20% of the total claim value as a cancellation fee, even if they never touched your car. They are not selling you a repair. They are selling a contract that they can then sell to the lowest bidding independent contractor. The second red flag is the subcontractor shell game. Many of these pop-up shops do not employ their own technicians. Instead, they act as brokers. They secure the claims from the public and then hire itinerant PDR techs who work on a commission basis. In 2026, the industry standard for a top-tier PDR technician is a high percentage of the labor profit. To maximize their own margins, these temporary shops often hire less experienced techs who are willing to work for a smaller cut. This leads to a fundamental lack of accountability. If the technician who actually worked on your car is 1,000 miles away by the time you notice a problem, the shop owner, if you can even find them, will often blame the subcontractor, leaving you in a bureaucratic limbo. Historical data from consumer protection agencies suggests that waiving the deductible is the most common hook used by these predatory actors. While we touched on the ethical and quality control issues of this practice earlier, the structural risk is even more significant. To make up for the $500 or $1,000 they are covering for you, these shops often engage in speed pushing. True paintless dent repair is a meticulous, slow process of massaging metal back into place using specialized steel rods and reflective lighting. A high-quality repair on a single hood might take a master technician 6 to 8 hours of focused labor. A storm chaser pressured by high volume and low margins might pop the dents in 2 hours using glue-pulling techniques that can, if done incorrectly, pull the paint right off the metal. If the paint pulls, they simply touch it up with a brush, hoping you won't notice until the first time you take the car through a high-pressure car wash. Let's look at a case study from a 2025 hailstorm in Missouri. A group of owners used a pop-up shop that advertised a zero out-of-pocket repair. When the vehicles were returned, the owners noticed that their sunroofs were leaking. Upon inspection by a certified master technician later that year, It was discovered that the temporary shop had used a quick access method for the roof repairs. Instead of removing the entire sunroof assembly as required by the manufacturer, they had simply pried the tracks down far enough to slide their tools in. This bent the aluminum guide rails by just a fraction of an inch, enough to break the weather seal but not enough to be visible to the naked eye. The cost to replace those sunroof assemblies was over $3,000 per vehicle. Because the original shop had dissolved its LLC, the owners were forced to file new insurance claims, which were subsequently denied as faulty workmanship, an exclusion found in almost every standard U.S. auto policy. To protect yourself, you must perform a digital audit of any shop you consider. In 2026, this goes beyond looking at Google reviews, which can be easily faked or purchased by unscrupulous marketers. First, check the age of the business's Facebook or Instagram page. If a shop claims to have 20 years of experience but their social media presence started 30 days ago, that is a massive red flag. Second, use the Secretary of State's website for your specific state to search the business entity. Look for how long the LLC has been active and who the registered agent is. If the registered agent is a law firm in a different state, you are likely dealing with a storm-chasing operation. Third, ask for a copy of their garage keeper's insurance and their workers' compensation policy. A legitimate local shop will have no problem producing these documents. A temporary operation will often provide excuses or show you a general liability policy that does not actually cover your vehicle while it is in their care. Another tactic used by temporary shops is the total loss buyback scheme. They may find vehicles that the insurance company has totaled and offer to fix them for the owner for the exact amount of the insurance check, minus the salvage value. While this sounds like a way to keep your car, these shops often perform substandard repairs that do not meet safety requirements. They might use Bondo or body filler on a roof and then sand and paint it, rather than performing true PDR. In 2026, many car roofs are structural components designed to support the weight of the vehicle in a rollover. Excessive heat or improper pulling can weaken the temper of the steel. If that car is ever in an accident, the structural integrity of the roof may be compromised, increasing the risk of a cabin intrusion. By now, you should be seeing a pattern. Dealing with car hail damage is not just about fixing dents. It is about managing a complex set of financial and physical risks. The mistake of choosing the easiest or cheapest path often leads to the most expensive long-term outcomes. But even if you find a perfect local shop, you still have to deal with the insurance company's final hurdle: the check itself. Many people don't realize that if they have a loan or a lease, the check won't just be made out to them. It will have their bank's name on it too. How do you get a multi-billion-dollar national bank to sign off on your repair check so you can actually pay your shop? If you do this incorrectly, your money could be stuck in escrow for months while your car sits in the shop's lot. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to tackle the lien holder nightmare. We will provide the exact scripts to use with your bank's lost draft department and explain the two-party check trap that catches thousands of Americans every year. If you want to ensure your repair doesn't get stalled by bank bureaucracy, you need to know these steps before the check even arrives in your mailbox. The reality of automotive financing in the United States in 2026 is that nearly 80% of vehicles on the road are encumbered by a lien. This means that until you make that final payment, you are effectively a co-owner with a multi-billion-dollar financial institution. When the sky opens up and hammers your car with ice, the insurance company is legally obligated to protect the interests of that lien holder. This leads to the most common administrative headache in the entire hail recovery process: the two-party check. Imagine a driver named James in Charlotte, North Carolina. James has a 2026 electric sedan that he is financing through a major national bank. After a significant hail event, his insurance company issues a check for $8,400. James is thrilled until he looks at the pay to the order of line and sees his name followed by the name of his bank. James makes a critical mistake that thousands of Americans make every year. He assumes he can just walk into his local branch, sign the back, and have a teller or a manager sign off on the bank's behalf. He drives to the bank, waits in line, and is told by a confused teller that they don't have the authority to sign insurance checks for collateral damage. James is then directed to call a toll-free number for the bank's lost draft department. This is a specialized, often outsourced division that handles property damage claims. If you find yourself in this position, you need to understand that you are no longer dealing with a friendly local banker. You are dealing with a rigid compliance engine designed to ensure that every cent of that insurance money is actually spent on restoring the value of the bank's asset. In the 2026 landscape, Most major lenders have moved toward digital lost draft portals, but the underlying bureaucracy remains the same. The bank will typically require a packet of information before they will even consider endorsing that check. This packet often includes a copy of the insurance adjuster's estimate, a signed contract from a reputable repair facility, a copy of the shop's business license, and a W-9 form from the shop. If you try to bypass this by depositing the check via a mobile app without the bank's endorsement, your bank's fraud detection algorithms will likely flag the transaction. This can result in your account being frozen and the funds being held in a suspense account for 30 to 60 days while the bank investigates. Historical trends show that attempting to force a two-party check through a standard deposit channel is one of the fastest ways to lose access to your operating capital during a crisis. Let's look at a case study involving a vehicle owner named Linda in suburban Chicago. Linda received a two-party check and, following the bank's instructions, mailed it to their processing center in another state. She failed to use a trackable shipping method. The check was lost in a high-volume mailroom for 3 weeks. Because the insurance company had already issued the funds, they were reluctant to stop payment and reissue a new check without a lengthy indemnity process. Linda's car sat at the repair shop for over a month, incurring storage fees, while she spent hours on hold with both her insurer and her bank. The lesson here is simple. Never send an insurance check to a lien holder without a tracking number and a signature requirement. In 2026, you should also take high-resolution photos of the front and back of the check before it leaves your hands. The process becomes even more complex if the repair amount is over a certain threshold, often $10,000. In these high-value cases, many banks will not release the full amount up front. They may place the funds in an escrow account and release them in draws. For example, they might release 50% to the shop to start the work and hold the remaining 50% until they receive proof of completion. This proof usually consists of a final invoice signed by you and the shop, along with photos of the repaired vehicle. Some lenders are now using AI-driven 2026 inspection apps where you have to walk around the car and take video to prove the dents are gone before the final funds are wire transferred to the shop. If your shop is not prepared for this level of administrative oversight, they may stop work on your car until they are sure they are getting paid, leading to weeks of unnecessary delays. There is also the lease trap to consider. If you are leasing your vehicle in 2026, your contract almost certainly stipulates that repairs must be made using original equipment manufacturer parts and performed at a manufacturer-certified facility. If you take your lease car to a pop-up PDR shop and they perform a substandard repair or use aftermarket trim pieces, you will likely be hit with a massive excessive wear and use fee when you turn the car in at the end of the lease. Historical data from lease-end inspections indicates that unrepaired or poorly repaired hail damage is one of the top 3 reasons for unexpected lease-end charges, often totaling thousands of dollars. The bank that owns the lease has a vested interest in the car's residual value, and they will use every technological tool at their disposal to ensure that value has not been compromised by a cheap repair. Another scenario to watch out for is the mistaken direct payout. Occasionally, an insurance company will accidentally send a check made out only to the vehicle owner, even if there is a lien on the title. If this happens to you, do not view it as a windfall. Imagine a character named Robert in Phoenix. Robert gets a $6,000 check for hail, sees only his name on it, and decides to use the money to pay off credit card debt instead of fixing the car. A year later, Robert is involved in a minor accident. When the insurance adjuster inspects the new damage, they see the old unrepaired hail damage. They cross-reference their records, see that they already paid for those repairs, and subtract $6,000 from his new settlement. Furthermore, because Robert failed to use the funds for their intended purpose, his lender may consider him in technical default of his loan agreement, which requires the borrower to maintain the collateral in good repair. This could, in extreme cases, lead to a repossession of the vehicle. To navigate this, you should consider using a direction to pay form. This is a legal document you sign that authorizes the insurance company to pay the repair shop directly. In many cases, this bypasses the two-party check nightmare entirely, as insurance companies are often willing to pay a licensed, brick-and-mortar shop through an electronic funds transfer. However, you should only sign a direction to pay if you are completely confident in the shop you have chosen. Once that money is sent to the shop, you lose a significant amount of leverage in the event of a quality of work dispute. As we've seen, the financial and administrative side of a hail claim can be just as treacherous as the storm itself. But let's say you've handled the bank, you've picked a great shop, and your car looks brand new again. Are you back to where you were before the storm? Not quite. There is a silent value killer that persists even after a perfect repair. It's a concept that the insurance industry rarely mentions unless you bring it up first, and it represents the literal lost money that stays with your car's history report forever. Even with a flawless repair, your car now has a damage reported flag on its VIN history. When you go to sell it, a savvy buyer or a dealership is going to see that. Do you know how to calculate the diminished value of your vehicle after a hail claim? Do you know which states allow you to file a secondary claim to recover this lost resale value? In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to dive into the world of diminished value claims. We will explain why restored to pre-loss condition is a legal myth and show you the exact steps to take to ensure you are compensated for the invisible black mark on your car's history. If you care about your car's future trade-in value, this next section is the most important 10 minutes of the entire series. The concept of inherent diminished value is perhaps the most overlooked financial crater in the entire automotive world. Most vehicle owners believe that if their car is returned to them looking like it just rolled off the showroom floor, they have been made whole. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of asset valuation in the 2026 used car market. Even if a master technician uses the most advanced paintless dent repair techniques to remove every single microscopic ripple from your roof and hood, your vehicle now possesses a history. In an era where every buyer has a smartphone and a subscription to digital history reports, that history has a specific measurable cost. This is known as inherent diminished value, the loss in market appeal and resale price that occurs simply because a vehicle has a significant damage claim attached to its vehicle identification number. Imagine a character named Chloe in Atlanta, Georgia. In the year 2026, Chloe drives a high-end electric SUV worth $75,000. A massive hailstorm sweeps through her neighborhood, resulting in $12,000 worth of repair work. The insurance company pays the shop, the car is fixed perfectly, and Chloe is happy. Until 6 months later when she decides to trade the vehicle in for a newer model. The dealership appraiser plugs her VIN into their system, sees the $12,000 hail claim, and immediately drops their trade-in offer by $8,000. Chloe is confused. She points out that the car is perfect. The appraiser shakes his head and explains that he cannot sell a car with a major damage history for the same price as one with a clean record. This $8,000 gap is the invisible black mark, and for most Americans, it is a total loss of equity that they never recover. The first mistake people make is assuming that diminished value is automatically included in their repair settlement. In reality, in 49 out of 50 states, insurance companies are not legally required to inform you about diminished value, nor are they required to pay it on a first-party claim, which is what a hail claim is, unless your specific policy language dictates otherwise. Georgia is the notable exception where case law has historically required insurers to evaluate for diminished value on first-party claims. For everyone else in the United States, if you do not proactively seek out this compensation, it simply vanishes. Historical trends show that insurance companies bank on the fact that 95% of policyholders don't even know the term exists. To navigate this, you have to understand the types of diminished value. First, there is inherent diminished value, which we just discussed, the stigma of the accident. Second, there is repair-related diminished value. This happens when the repair itself is subpar, such as paint that doesn't match or panels that are misaligned. Third, there is insurance-related diminished value, where the insurer's refusal to pay for quality parts or procedures results in a lower quality vehicle. In a hail scenario, we are primarily fighting against inherent diminished value. In 2026, many insurance companies use a specific calculation known as the 17C formula to determine how much they might offer you if you actually do file a claim. You need to know this math because it is intentionally designed to be conservative. The formula starts by taking the clean retail value of your car and applying a 10% cap. So, on Chloe's $75,000 SUV, the maximum possible payout starts at $7,500. Then they apply a damage multiplier. If the damage was severe, the multiplier is 1.0. If it was moderate, it might be 0.5. Then they apply a mileage multiplier. If the car has high mileage, that multiplier drops significantly. By the time the math is done, a car that actually lost $8,000 in resale value might only be offered a check for $1,500 by the insurance company. The mistake most people make when they realize this is trying to argue with the insurance adjuster based on their feelings or a printout from a generic car valuation website. In the 2026 legal landscape, feelings do not win claims. Certified appraisals do. If you believe your car has suffered significant diminished value, you must hire an independent, third-party appraiser who specializes in these reports. These professionals will look at local auction data, speak with dealership fleet managers, and provide a comprehensive document that proves exactly how much money you have lost. This report acts as your leverage. While it might cost you $300 to $500 to get this appraisal, the potential outcome is often a settlement thousands of dollars higher than the initial lowball offer. Let's look at a case study from a 2025 event in North Texas. A group of owners of identical luxury sedans all suffered similar hail damage. One owner accepted the repair and moved on. The second owner fought the insurance company using their own research and was ignored. The third owner hired a certified appraiser and presented a formal demand for diminished value. The third owner received a secondary check for $4,200. The first two owners received zero. This is a clear historical trend. Those who provide professional documentation are the only ones who get paid. Furthermore, we must address the 2026 reality of the digital footprint. Many owners think that if they don't go through insurance and pay for the repairs out of pocket, the damage won't show up on a history report. This is a dangerous gamble. In 2026, many specialized PDR shops and parts suppliers report data to third-party aggregators. Even if you pay cash, your VIN could still be flagged. This is why the mistake of avoiding an insurance claim just to keep the record clean often backfires. You end up paying for the repair yourself and you still suffer the diminished value when you go to sell. The smarter move is to use the insurance coverage you pay for, and then aggressively pursue the diminished value claim to offset the loss in equity. Another critical factor in 2026 is the rise of artificial intelligence in dealership appraisals. When you pull into a dealership today, many use drive-through scanners that use high-resolution cameras and AI to detect even the slightest variations in paint texture or panel gaps. These systems are far more sensitive than a human eye. If your hail repair involved any painting or traditional bodywork, the AI will catch it in seconds. This makes the perfection of the repair even more vital. If you chose a shop that cut corners, the AI will flag it as a structural repair or prior paintwork, which can result in a 20 to 30% hit to your trade-in value, regardless of how good it looks to a person standing 5 feet away. Understanding your car's equity is about more than just the metal. It's about the data. But even as you fight for the value of your vehicle, there is a physical component of hail damage that is frequently missed during the initial inspection, something that can lead to catastrophic failure months after the claim is closed. Most people look at the dents in the metal, but they completely ignore the glass, the seals, and the hidden drainage systems. What if I told you that a hailstone hitting your windshield might not leave a crack today, but could cause your roof to leak or your airbags to fail 6 months from now? Or that there is a specific plastic component in your sunroof that, if fractured by hail, can lead to thousands of dollars in interior water damage that insurance will claim as owner negligence. In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to dive into the hidden mechanical and glass damage that 90% of adjusters miss. We will show you the exact stress tests you need to perform on your windows and sunroof before you sign the final release. If you want to avoid a wet interior or a shattered windshield on the highway, you need to see what's happening beneath the surface. Most vehicle owners walk around their car after a hailstorm and look exclusively for the obvious: the round, concave indentations on the hood, roof, and trunk. If the glass isn't shattered and the car starts, they assume the damage is limited to the sheet metal. In the year 2026, this assumption is not only incorrect, it is a high-stakes financial gamble. Modern vehicle architecture has moved toward a more integrated design where the glass, sensors, and exterior trim are often more valuable and more fragile than the metal panels themselves. To understand the hidden mechanical and glass damage that 90% of adjusters miss, we have to look at the molecular level of how these components react to high-velocity impacts. The most common mistake at this stage is ignoring the bruised windshield. In 2026, almost every new vehicle sold in the United States uses a structural windshield that acts as a vital component of the vehicle's safety cage. If you imagine your car flipping over in a rollover accident, the windshield provides up to 30% of the roof's structural integrity. When a large hailstone strikes the glass, it may not cause an immediate star or bullseye crack. Instead, it can create a microfracture within the polyvinyl butyryl (PVB) interlayer. This is the plastic layer sandwiched between two sheets of glass. Historical trends in automotive glass engineering show that these internal fractures can remain dormant for months. Imagine a driver named Ethan in Denver, Colorado. Ethan's 2026 sedan is peppered by a June hailstorm. He looks at his windshield, sees no cracks, and doesn't mention the glass to his insurance adjuster. Fast forward to December. Ethan gets into his car on a frosty morning and turns the defroster on high. The sudden temperature differential causes the glass to expand at a different rate than the frozen PVB interlayer. That invisible hail bruise from 6 months ago suddenly erupts, and a crack snaps across the entire length of the glass. Because the hail claim is long closed, Ethan now has to file a new glass claim, pay a second deductible, and deal with a potential increase in his premium. If he had insisted on a professional polarized light inspection during the initial hail claim, the insurance company likely would have covered a total windshield replacement as part of the original catastrophe loss. This problem is compounded by the 2026 integration of Advanced Driver Assistance Systems, or ADAS. Most modern cars have a forward-facing camera, FFC, mounted directly behind the rearview mirror, looking through the windshield. If a hailstone strikes the glass near this camera housing, even if it doesn't leave a visible mark, the vibration can knock the camera out of its sub-millimeter alignment. Case studies from the 2025 storm season in North Texas showed that 15% of vehicles with roof and hood hail damage also suffered from blind spot calibration errors or lane keep assist failures that were directly linked to the kinetic energy of the hail impacts. If your shop does not perform a pre-repair diagnostic scan, you might be driving a car that thinks the lane line is 3 feet to the left of where it actually is. The next often missed area is the panoramic sunroof system. By 2026, the trend of all-glass roofs has become standard for most electric and luxury vehicles. These units are not just windows, they are complex mechanical assemblies with multiple moving parts, drainage channels, and sensitive seals. When hail hits a panoramic roof, the damage is rarely just a crack. The impact can cause the aluminum guide rails to warp or the plastic drip trays beneath the glass to fracture. Imagine if a vehicle owner named Sarah has her 2026 SUV repaired for metal dents, but the shop never inspects the sunroof tracks. 3 months later, during a heavy rain, water begins to pour from her interior dome light. The hail had cracked the hidden plastic drainage tube, but because it was buried under the headliner, no one saw it. The resulting interior mold and electronic failure can cost upwards of $7,000 to remediate. In 2026, insurance companies often deny these secondary water damage claims, citing them as a failure of the owner to maintain the vehicle. Furthermore, we have to talk about the plastic fatigue of exterior trim. High-velocity hail doesn't just dent metal. It shatters the molecular bonds in plastic moldings, cowl covers, and light housings. On a 2026 vehicle, your headlights are likely high-intensity LED units that cost over $2,000 each. While the thick outer lens might survive a hail strike, the internal aiming brackets, which are often made of thin, brittle plastic, can snap. If you notice your headlights vibrating when you drive over a bump, or if they seem aimed too low after a hailstorm, the internal housing is likely broken. A common mistake is allowing an adjuster to write off these trim pieces as cosmetic pitting that doesn't require replacement. Historical trends show that these pitted plastics will yellow and crack at an accelerated rate due to UV exposure, as the hail has compromised the protective clear coat layer of the plastic itself. Then there is the issue of the shark fin antenna and roof-mounted sensors. In 2026, these units often house GPS, cellular, and even V2X, vehicle-to-everything communication modules. A hailstone hitting a shark fin antenna can cause a micro-leak in the gasket. This doesn't cause a flood, but it allows moisture to slowly seep into the sensitive electronic boards. Over 6 months, the moisture causes corrosion. Suddenly, your navigation system fails or your car loses its 5G connectivity. If you didn't have the shop remove the antenna and inspect the seal during the hail repair, proving the damage was caused by a storm that happened half a year ago is nearly impossible. To avoid these pitfalls, you must insist on a full mechanical and glass supplement. This means your repair facility shouldn't just be looking at dents. They should be performing a water leak test on the sunroof, a diagnostic scan of the ADAS system, and a light leak test on the headlight housings. You should also check your belt moldings, the rubber and chrome strips at the base of your windows. If hail strikes these, it often leaves small dimples that are difficult to see but break the seal against the glass. This allows water to run down inside the door shell, where it can sit and rust the bottom of the door or short out the window motors. Understanding the complexity of a 2026 vehicle means realizing that a hailstone is not just an ice cube. It is a kinetic projectile hitting a high-tech computer on wheels. The physical restoration of the metal is only 50% of a proper repair. The other 50% is the invisible restoration of the vehicle's electronic and structural integrity. But even if you get every sensor calibrated and every seal replaced, there is one final way the repair process can go wrong, and it happens on the very last day you have the car in the shop. The mistake most people make is the 5-minute walk around. They are so excited to get their car back that they sign the final paperwork and drive away without a proper quality control inspection. Do you know how to spot pigtail swirls in the clear coat that indicate a lazy PDR technician? Do you know how to check if your headliner was reinstalled with the original safety clips, or if the shop used cheap, dangerous adhesive? In the next part of this masterclass, we are going to give you the ultimate post-repair checklist. We will show you the sun gun trick to find hidden repair flaws, and the 3 specific sounds to listen for that indicate your car was put back together incorrectly. If you want to make sure the fixed car is actually safe for your family, you cannot afford to skip the next section. The excitement of getting your vehicle back after weeks in the shop often leads to the most expensive 5 minutes of the entire hail claim process: the premature sign-off. In the high-pressure environment of 2026 automotive repair, shops are often rushing to clear their lots for the next wave of catastrophe victims. This leads to a catastrophic oversight where owners accept a vehicle that looks repaired, but is actually a ticking time bomb of structural or aesthetic failures. To avoid this, you must treat the pickup process not as a reunion with your car, but as a forensic audit. Most people make the mistake of picking up their car in the evening or when it is raining. This is a massive tactical error. In 2026, the only way to truly see the quality of paintless dent repair is under direct, natural sunlight or specialized high CRI color rendering index (LED) lights. Imagine a vehicle owner named Tyler in Dallas, Texas. Tyler picks up his black 2026 sports sedan at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday. The car is parked in the shade of the shop's awning. To Tyler's eye, the hood looks flat and the dents are gone. He signs the release and drives home. The next morning, when the low-angle sun hits the car at a specific 30-degree angle, Tyler sees what look like hundreds of tiny shimmering scratches on the surface of the clear coat. These are known as pigtails or micromarring. They are caused by a PDR technician who used a dirty tap-down tool or who overpushed the metal and tried to sand down the high spots with a heavy-handed buffer. Because Tyler already signed the paperwork stating he was satisfied with the repair, his insurance company considers the claim closed. The shop can now claim that those scratches happened after the car left their lot. Tyler is now looking at a $2,000 bill for a professional multi-stage paint correction that should have been handled correctly the first time. The first step in your post-repair audit is the sun gun test. If you cannot pick up the car in the bright sun, you should bring a high-lumen LED flashlight. You must hold the light at an angle to the panel and slowly move your head. What you are looking for is texture mismatch. Every factory paint job has a certain amount of orange peel, the slight wavy texture in the clear coat. If a PDR tech was too aggressive, they might have smoothed out that orange peel in specific spots, leaving flat or shiny circles where the dents used to be. This is a dead giveaway of a substandard repair. In the 2026 resale market, an appraiser using an electronic paint depth gauge will immediately flag these areas, assuming the car was involved in a collision and repainted with inferior materials. Next, you must perform the interior integrity check. As we discussed in earlier parts of this masterclass, the roof repair requires the removal and installation of the headliner. A common mistake is failing to check the headliner for cleanliness and clips. Imagine if Tyler had looked up at his ceiling. He might find greasy fingerprints on the light-colored Alcantara fabric. Far worse, he might notice that the headliner is sagging by ½ an inch near the rear window. This indicates that the technician broke the one-time use plastic retention clips and, rather than replacing them with 2026 OEM parts, tried to tuck the fabric back into the molding. This is not just a cosmetic issue. Many modern vehicles house the side curtain airbag sensors near these clips. If the headliner is not secured precisely to the manufacturer's specifications, the airbag deployment could be delayed or obstructed in an accident. Historical trends in post-repair inspections show that nearly 40% of headliners are reinstalled incorrectly after a major hail repair. You must also use your ears. Before you leave the shop's lot, turn off the radio, turn off the climate control, and drive over a set of speed bumps or a slightly rough road. Listen for the hail rattle. This is a specific sound caused by a technician who dropped a tool or a plastic clip behind a pillar or inside a door cavity and didn't bother to fish it out. Even more common is the sound of a loose wiring harness. If the shop didn't properly retape the wiring for the panoramic sunroof or the interior lights, it will tap against the metal roof of your car every time you hit a bump. In a 2026 electric vehicle, which is nearly silent, these rattles become a maddening psychological burden that can significantly lower the vehicle's perceived quality to a future buyer. The stress test for glass and seals is the next vital line item. You should bring a gallon of water or ask the shop to use their hose. Pour water slowly over the roof and the tops of the doors. Check the interior for any signs of moisture, specifically around the A-pillars and the shark fin antenna. If the shop removed these components to gain access for their PDR rods, they must have replaced the gaskets. Case studies from 2025 indicated that many discount shops tried to reuse old gaskets with a bead of silicone sealant. This might hold for a week, but after a few cycles of 2026 summer heat and winter cold, the seal will fail. A slow leak into the trunk area can destroy the high-voltage battery controllers or the premium audio amplifiers located in the rear quarters of many modern SUVs. Furthermore, we must address the functionality audit. You must physically sit in every seat and operate every electronic component. Do the rear reading lights still work? Does the sunroof open and close without a grinding sound? Most importantly, does the lane keep assist and pre-collision warning system show any error codes on the dashboard? In 2026, some shops will use a generic OBD2 scanner to clear error codes right before the customer arrives, hoping the light won't come back on until the car is miles away. You should ask for a printed post-repair scan report from a recognized diagnostic platform. This document proves that every computer module in your car is communicating correctly and that no shadow codes are lingering in the system. One of the most nuanced mistakes people make during the final walk-around is ignoring the panel gap symmetry. If your hood or trunk was removed to facilitate the repair, a common practice for heavy hail damage, it must be realigned with surgical precision. Use a fingertip test. Slide your finger along the gap between the hood and the fender on the left side, then do the same on the right. They should feel identical. If one side is wider or the hood sits slightly higher than the fender, the car has not been restored to its pre-loss condition. Improperly aligned panels can lead to increased wind noise, decreased aerodynamic efficiency, and fretting where the metal panels rub together and strip the paint, leading to premature rust. As we reach the conclusion of this audit, you must understand the release of liability. The shop will ask you to sign a document stating the repairs are complete and you are taking delivery. Do not sign this if you found even a single issue. Once you sign, your leverage effectively drops to zero. If the shop says, just take it home and bring it back next week to fix that rattle, do not agree. Historical trends show that comeback appointments are the lowest priority for any shop. Your car will sit in their lot for days while they work on new insurance claims. Insist that the car stays until it is 100% correct. This meticulous attention to detail is what separates the people who lose equity from the people who maintain it. But even with a perfect repair and a perfect audit, there is one final overarching mistake that governs the entire experience: the failure to document the journey. If you ever want to sell this car for top dollar in 2026 or 2027, you are going to have to explain this claim to a skeptical buyer. Do you have the evidence to prove that this was just hail and not a major collision? Do you have the before and after portfolio that turns a damage reported flag into a professional restoration selling point? In the final part of this masterclass, we are going to show you how to build the Golden VIN folder. We will provide the list of 5 documents you must keep in your glove box to protect your resale value forever. We are closing the loop on your financial protection, and you cannot afford to leave your equity to chance. The final mistake that completes the cycle of financial loss is the failure to build what we call the Golden VIN folder. In the United States automotive market of 2026, information is the ultimate currency. When you eventually decide to sell or trade in your vehicle, the hail claim you filed today will appear as a permanent entry on your vehicle history report. To a computer algorithm at a dealership or a skeptical private buyer, a generic entry that says damage reported or catastrophe loss is a red flag that triggers an automatic deduction in value. Without the proper documentation, you have no way to prove that the damage was merely cosmetic or that the repair was performed to the highest technical standards. You are essentially letting a vague digital record dictate your car's worth. To prevent this, you must compile 5 specific documents before the dust settles on your claim. The first document in your portfolio must be a high-resolution photo library with embedded metadata. Most people take a few blurry photos of the dents and call it a day. In 2026, You should use a high-definition camera to capture every panel of the car from multiple angles under a specialized hail light or a high-contrast environment. Imagine a vehicle owner named Alex in Austin, Texas. Alex doesn't just take photos of the dents. He takes photos of the car next to a date-stamped newspaper or a digital timestamp to prove the exact moment of the loss. More importantly, he takes photos of the glass, the light housings, and the door jambs to show there was no structural impact or frame damage. Historical trends in the used car market suggest that sellers who can provide a before and after visual portfolio can mitigate up to 50% of the perceived value loss associated with the damage report. This photo evidence proves to a future buyer that the car wasn't in a high-speed collision that was mislabeled as hail. The second document is the reconciled insurance estimate. This is the final version of the estimate after all supplements have been approved and paid. This document is vital because it lists every single part that was touched during the repair. If your shop replaced the roof moldings, the shark fin antenna, and the windshield cowl, the estimate will show these as original equipment manufacturer parts. This provides a clear audit trail that no corners were cut. If a future buyer asks if the airbags were ever deployed or if the roof was cut off and replaced, you can pull out this document and show that the repair was strictly non-invasive paintless dent repair and the replacement of exterior trim. It transforms a mystery into a transparent history. Document number 3 is the itemized shop invoice, specifically highlighting the repair method. You need a document from the shop that explicitly states the work was performed using paintless dent repair or PDR. In the 2026 market, PDR is viewed as a premium restoration method because it preserves the factory paint and e-coat. Traditional bodywork involving sanding, bondo, and repainting is viewed as a value killer because it introduces the risk of paint mismatch and future clear coat failure. By having an invoice that certifies the metal was massaged back to its original shape without the use of fillers or heat-damaged paint, you are providing proof of a superior repair. Case studies have shown that vehicles with certified PDR repairs retain a much higher percentage of their original cash value compared to those that underwent traditional body shop methods for the same type of damage. The fourth document is the transferable lifetime warranty. This is where many owners fail. They accept a verbal promise from a shop, but never get the written warranty certificate. In 2026, a reputable permanent PDR facility will provide a written warranty against the dents ever returning or the paint ever failing in the areas they worked on. Crucially, you must ensure this warranty is transferable to the next owner. Imagine Alex is selling his car in 2027. He tells the buyer, not only was this car fixed by a master technician, but the repair is warranted for as long as the car is on the road. That shifts the buyer's perspective from one of risk to one of security. It turns your hail history into a documented mark of quality maintenance. The fifth and final document is the post-repair diagnostic scan and ADAS certification. As we covered in the deep dive into electronics, modern vehicles are moving computers. A future buyer in 2026 is going to be terrified of buying a car with hidden electronic ghosts. By keeping a printed report from the shop showing that a full system scan was performed after the repair, and that all sensors, including lane keep assist, adaptive cruise control, and blind spot monitoring, are fully calibrated and error-free, you are providing a safety certification that most other sellers will lack. This document is the ultimate proof that the vehicle's brain is just as healthy as its body. Beyond the documentation, we must address the post-repair preservation phase. A common mistake made by owners after a hail repair is neglecting the freshly massaged metal. Even though the paint wasn't broken, the molecular structure of the metal was stressed. In the year 2026, many owners are choosing to apply a high-grade ceramic coating or paint protection film immediately following a hail repair. Historical data from detailing professionals indicates that adding a layer of protection can help stabilize the clear coat and prevent the micromarring that can sometimes appear after PDR tools have been used on the underside of a panel. Think of it as a protective seal for the hard work your technician just performed. Let's look at a final case study to see how all these pieces fit together. Alex and his neighbor both had their cars damaged in the same 2026 storm. Alex followed this masterclass step by step. He chose a local certified shop, fought for OEM parts, secured a diminished value settlement, and built his golden VIN folder. His neighbor took the first check from the insurance company, used a pop-up shop that waived his deductible, and threw away his paperwork once the car was back in his driveway. 2 years later, both men try to sell their cars. The neighbor's car is flagged with a damage report, and because he has no proof of the repair quality, he is forced to accept a trade-in value $4,000 below market average. Alex, however, presents his folder to a private buyer. He explains the PDR process, shows the ADAS calibration report, and transfers the lifetime warranty. Alex sells his car for the full market value, effectively negating the financial impact of the hailstorm. The difference between these two potential outcomes isn't luck. It is the application of technical and administrative knowledge. Dealing with car hail damage is a test of your ability to manage a multi-party negotiation involving insurance adjusters, repair technicians, and financial institutions. If you treat it like a simple errand, you will lose money. If you treat it like the deep dive masterclass we have laid out over the last 10 parts, you will protect your asset and your peace of mind. We have covered everything from the physics of ice impacts to the legal warfare of diminished value claims. You now have the blueprint to navigate the next catastrophe with confidence. But the world of automotive technology is moving faster than ever, and as we head into 2027, the way insurance companies use AI to deny claims is evolving. If you think the current system is complex, you haven't seen the new predictive modeling and telematics-based claim denials that are starting to hit the market. In our next major series, we are going to expose the black box algorithms that insurance companies are using to track your driving habits and how they might use that data to deny your next weather-related claim before you even pick up the phone. You won't want to miss how the game is changing once again.